good day to be indigenous.
Get up, stand up.
They are going to become more brutal.
Couldn't cut, hitting cut again.
Because all the hippies were trying to be Indians anyway.
They're going to become more repressive because it's a matter of dollars and their illusionary concepts of power.
Hey, Victor.
We must live in balance with the earth.
And also with recent happenings at Wounded Knee.
I am awake.
Welcome to Native Roots Radio Presents I'm Awake, and I'm your host, Wakanja Hade. Hey, Kadagi to all my friends and relatives in four directions. You are listening to Native Roots Radio Presents I'm Awake, and I'm your host, Robert Pilot. We discuss local and national Native news and events, and as you know, Haley, Native issues are human issues, and human issues are Native issues.
They are, Robert. This portion of the show is supported by the Minnesota Indian Women's Sexual Assault Coalition.
Hey, you know, I always say that we always have a special show, so it's kind of redundant, but I feel like we have a really special show tonight here on Native Roots Radio, and we have the president of Minnetonka on here, and I want to get Jori on here right away, and let's talk about what's happening with Minnetonka and what, the exciting things, and I've had the opportunity to talk to you off air, and just the things that are happening. And I'm really, really excited to have you on, and let's get this show on the road here.
Thanks for having us.
Let's talk a little bit about your company here, and it's been around for, I believe, over 80 years. And let's talk about where you've come from and where you're at now, and all these really good things. I think everybody in the country is familiar with your shoes and your products over the years, and I know I've had some moccasins over the years, and I'm here to say I'm really excited to have you and our other special guest on. But let's start with you, Jori.
Thanks, Robert. So Minnetonka has been around since 1946. And it's been a family business. I work with my dad, who's our CEO. My grandfather still works. He's 92, and I have a cousin in the business. And we have, been around for many decades and seen a lot of trends come and go, a lot of things in the country come and go. And we have a lot of history with that. And of course, we're here to talk about our reconciliation work. And do you want me to just jump in and start diving in on that?
Right, exactly. And again, I just wanted a little background so we all know what business we're talking about. But yeah, let's jump right into it and get our other guest involved in here. And I'm just excited to talk about this because, like I said earlier, we've had quite a few conversations over the last couple of years, and the great work that you and your family is doing. So let's get rolling.
We have had some good talks. Yeah. So we were. I'm trying to think back into pre-COVID days. It's hard to imagine now, but we were, to be totally transparent, really paralyzed for a few years there by fear. Once we realized we were appropriating, there were decades, those first few decades in the company, it wasn't an understanding that we had. And so I've been in the business almost 13 years now. And when we first started to understand what that concept was and understand what we were doing, we were paralyzed, like I said, by fear of what to do next and how to move forward and how to even talk about this in any way. And the first thing that we did is I actually reached out to somebody who I knew. We weren't really good friends. We were friendly and had known each other in school. And I reached out to her, and she became our first Native American advisor. And that was in the fall of 2019. that's why I said, oh, I gotta think back for a second. And so that was, that was in the fall of 2019. And she was really, honest, direct, supportive, clear. And, it was a really, I'll never forget. We had lunch. It was me and David Miller, our CEO, and her. And it was just, frankly, a life-changing lunch to have this conversation, the first one. So from there, we began to just meet people in the community and through people. And we had the opportunity to meet with a few people who became advisors more. So we had a few. And then when George Floyd was murdered, a fair number of our employees lived in the area where there was a lot of unrest. And it was also at a time, it was a few months into COVID, we all remember. And it was at a time when we kind of were able to say, hang on a second, we're figuring out how everybody can work and deal with this COVID thing and try and keep the business open. And now this happens. And it really, this topic of how we can be more committed to this community and how we can deal with our cultural appropriation really went to back to the top of the list and has stayed there ever since. So from there, that summer in 2020, we published on our website the first, we call it our letter of commitment, where we called it what it is, which is appropriation. We apologized for it and we said, check back in the fall and we're going to have more of a plan. And then we did update with more of a plan. Here are some of the things we're going to do to change, to show up better. And so that was the first step. And then we met Adrienne Benjamin, who's on with us. We met Adrienne through one of those advisors. I think the first conversation was in very early January of 2021. So that kind of takes us up to when we met Adrienne, and I'm not going to speak for her, but I know she was like, okay, I guess I'll talk to these people. So you can speak for yourself.
Well, can I, before you come on, I have to say this. Before we had our conversation, and it had to do with Native Roots Trading Post, which we just finished up at the fair. I want to just really give you big props on that letter of commitment. That's a big deal here in Native country, that anyone that admits any kind of wrongdoing to Native Americans is just, it never happened. So I just got to give you a big shout out here on Native Roots Radio. And I think that's why it's really important for us here to have you both on today and talk about this, because people, especially the way history's been taught, people don't really want to cop a plea of appropriation or any wrongdoing, because they can blame it on the school system, they can blame it on other things. But you took responsibility and are moving forward, and that's huge. I just want to say that before we get any further, and we're really excited to have you both on.
Thank you.
And, we want you to introduce yourself to our audience, too, now. We only have a minute left in this segment, but we want to have everyone total anticipation for when we come back. Can you introduce yourself?
Absolutely. So, Anin, Amikagabuikwe Indigenous Cause, Adrienne Benjamin is my name. I am currently the reconciliation advisor for Minnetonka, and also an artist and youth worker, activist, all the kinds of different things that I've done in my career. So
that's awesome. Hey, that was the teaser we wanted. Hey, you're listening to Native Roots Radio presents I'm Awake, and we're going to talk to Minnetonka here about what's happening and how they are embedding themselves in the community in a good way. So this is Native Roots Radio, and we'll be right back after this short break.
Stay with us.
We are your relatives,
We are your relations,
brothers,
sisters,
sons,
daughters,
and some of us are your grandchildren.
We are your community. Historically, we held places of honor and respect. Because of the impact of colonization, some of us are rejected, thrown out from family, friends, and community, set up as targets for sexual violence, sex trafficked, humiliated, tortured, and murdered. Everybody has the right to be safe. We are your relatives. Remember,
Homophobia is not traditional.
Sponsored by the Minnesota Indian Women's Sexual Assault Coalition.
Be a vaccinative. It's time to come together and talk about the urgent need to stay up to date on COVID-19 vaccinations to protect our heritage, our loved ones, and our future. Throughout history, we have always faced challenges, and today we must protect our culture and loved ones. This is our opportunity to ensure that our tribal gatherings once again resound with joy and celebration, where the echoes of our ancestors guide our steps. It's a chance to care for our elders, cherishing their wisdom and stories for generations to come. COVID-19 vaccines are safe and effective. Let us unite, resilient as ever, and show the world the strength of the Native American community. Together, we shape a future where our traditions thrive, our children learn from our ancestors, and our people flourish once more. So be a vaccinative and learn more about staying up to date with your COVID vaccinations at health.state.mn.us. That's health.state.mn.us. This message is brought to you in partnership with the Minnesota Department of Health.
J&S Bean Factory is a native-owned, community-supported, cozy, artsy coffee shop which offers roasted on-site beans, live music, and baked goods. Relax in the beautiful outside patio. City Pages writes, voted top 10 coffee shops. Tucked into a quiet corner of St. Paul's Highland Park neighborhood, this coffee shop roasts beans on-site from the best coffee-growing countries in the world. Located at 1518 Randolph Avenue, St. Paul. The good stuff.
Hi, this is Representative Sharice Davids from Kansas. I'm Ho Chunk, and you're listening to Native Roots Radio.
And we're back to Native Roots Radio presents I'm Awake, and this is Robert Pilot. Looks like you are muted there, Haley.
Yes, apologies. My computer is lagging now. I'm having a little bit of Wi-Fi issues. This portion of the show is supported by J.S. Bean Factory off Randolph Avenue in St. Paul, native-owned, bringing us the best coffee that keeps us awake.
I am awake. Hey, we are having a really kick-butts show today here to start the week off here, and we're with Jori and Adrienne, and we are talking about Minnetonka and also what's happening in Minnetonka. And I would like you to finish introducing yourself in a good way. You're the advisor, and let's talk a little about your reconciliation advisory job.
Sure. So, just kind of pick up where Jori left off. So I started working. I started my conversations, I'll say that, with Minnetonka after being, an elder in the Minneapolis community actually came to me and, said, I know that I've been talking to this company and they've done some appropriation over the years and they're looking for somebody to kind of maybe lead an effort to, do right by that. Are you interested? And I was like, maybe. So, I'm really deep into, systems change and heart work and community. And that's really all important things to me. So I guess when I first heard about it, I was like, we need to meet. I need to feel it out. Cause I think I've just, over the years I've worked with schools and different organizations. And I think a lot of folks, feel like it's a box that can be checked and that it's not something that has to be ongoing. And so for me, that was really the litmus test of the conversation to really feel out, with David and Jori, where they were with their own internal work as far as this goes.
Yeah, that's, us natives have been, dissed before, so it's really good that we have to keep our eyes and ears peeled. We always remember Manhattan was bought by a few beads and some trinkets, and we need to always keep our eye out. So how did that first meeting go? I mean, obviously you're here, but there's so much going on when it comes to education, as it sounds like you're in education too, that, people are fighting not to talk about the truth, and we have our own truth, and then there's truth that's taught in schools. And so we're always a little, and I don't know if I want to use the word paranoid, but we're always a little slow in moving when we talk to people with good news, let's say.
Yeah. So the conversation obviously went very well, and I think that the main point that really struck me with both Jori and David was, the admission. Like you said, I think the apology and that piece of things, and just even the acknowledgement. As I've done this work and we've gone forward with a lot of our efforts, I think, I really like to look at it from, like a relational standpoint, right? Like a person to person, like if someone was to wrong each other just on a personal level, like what are the things that need to happen to repair that relationship? And so that's kind of how I approached this. And the fact that the acknowledgement was there on their end. And, I think that they were really open to feeling, the shame of it also, which is like almost like a taboo word for a lot of folks. But, I think that they were able to be in that and were really honest and, truthful about what had occurred. And I think I'll even go one step further to say that and I'll let Jori talk on this, but I think now it's even become such deeper work than what I think any of us ever set out to do, even for me and my learning with it as well. And I think I think I said this on another podcast, but I want to say it here too, is just like someone asked me, like, so if a company comes up to you and wants to talk about reconciliation work, what's something they should know? And I think when I think the most about this, it's that this can't be something that's like a click in your company that you're like, okay, we're going to do this now and pay these people and then it's done. Like this work is so deep internally in your own systems and the way that you were brought up and the historical context and all those things that you mentioned previously. Like, I don't think that it's possible to separate the two.
No, it isn't. And it kind of reminds me too of sometimes we fall into this land acknowledgement. It's like, I know whose land this is. This isn't up to me to educate you. And I think that's gone. Do you know what I'm saying? It's like and it sounds like, Minnetonka is doing more than per se land acknowledgement. They're doing the work, and that's heavy lifting. That is definitely heavy lifting. Jori, how was that first conversation there? How did that go?
Obviously great, but I will say, one thing that really drew us to Adrienne was she has a deep belief in systematic change. She believes it's possible. And one thing we've talked about many times is, this is a 77-year-old company, and I'm the fourth generation. If I were starting a company today, would it look anything like this? No, of course it wouldn't. But if things are going to change, you need every system to contribute, right? You need government to participate. You need the nonprofit sector to participate. You do need new businesses that have better things as part of their mission. And I love seeing those. My mission in life is to take an old company and turn it and to show up better. So we need all of those things plus many more, of course. But to kind of come to that was something I think we really connected on is, can we undo hundreds of years of not good, just the work we're doing in the next few years or only in this generation? No, but can we really make real progress and show up in a different way? And so we really connected on that. And then also just Adrienne has a really great way about her. She's so honest. She's so thoughtful. And she does so in a way that can make you feel safe. And we laugh a lot too. And so it was also like you were referring to earlier, Adrienne, like that sometimes you just have to like vibe with people, and especially if you're going to be really vulnerable and deal with some hard stuff. And so that element was there too.
This is an amazing show. And I want to ask you something, Jori, too, before we move on. How much pushback, and you don't have to name names, but how much pushback did you get from your family? You know, I've kind of wondered about that, because obviously you're younger, you sound progressive, you were brought up in a different era as your parents, and not that they're not good people, but maybe this is not in their jam.
You know, my dad, who's our CEO, has been so on board with this, and we would not be doing all of this work, and we wouldn't be as far as we were if he weren't totally on board, or if I were dragging him along. We were just talking about this on Friday, actually, and we were doing we were doing something with Adrienne and some of the artists who we're working with, and he and I were walking, and I was just saying to him, even though, you know, I sometimes can take the lead in this way, or I'm sitting here with you and not him, we've absolutely partnered on this, and credit to him, because he is of a different generation. Mm-hmm. So it's been one of, if not the most meaningful thing that we have done together, working together, and that we will continue to do. And the rest of our family has taken our lead, and we've been educating them along the way, and they're along for it, but we've definitely been closest to it. We work in the business, and yeah, that part has been really special, to be honest.
That's awesome, because I did have a chance to meet with your father and yourself, and in a meeting a few years ago, and I really did catch a really good vibe from your dad. That's awesome, and that's why I think this is a really exciting show. Adrienne, so what's the next steps here? I mean, this is exciting things. Do we infiltrate Minnetonka with many native designs, or how are we going here?
I think that's exactly where we're going. You know, a big part of this, when we stepped into like the planning process, or once we realized what it should be, right? Like, what does this look like? What is this like personal journey of reconciliation for Minnetonka moccasins? I think that was one of the first things that we talked about, aside from like, hey, the first thing is the acknowledgement. The second thing has to be an apology. And then it like, for me, that was a big piece in that first conversation too. Like, is this going to be continued work, or is it going to be like, this is, you know, a one-off effort? You're going to do a couple things here and then call it good. You know, like, I wasn't signing up for that. So, but what's really great is Jori made it very clear, like, this is a forever thing for the company. As long as this is in existence, they want to continue these relationships that we're building. And I see the 30 seconds left, so more after the break.
Right. Oh, that was good. You heard her. We'll be right back after this short break. You're listening to Native Roots Radio presents I'm Awake, and here with Minnetonka. We'll be right back. Minnesota has the only original wolf population in the continental United States.
And 80% of Minnesotans believe the wolf should be protected.
Howling for Wolves is asking Minnesotans to respect our true wildlife manager, the wolf.
Their survival is critical to our ecosystems, our communities, and even our economy.
As highly intelligent animals with strong social bonds, Minnesota wolves deserve to be protected and admired.
Learn more at howlingforwolves.org. Let's live and let howl. Howl!
This is Chad, owner of AM 950, here to tell you about the exterior construction company I trust, Snap Construction. If your home was hit with the most recent storms, trust the most well-reviewed exterior construction company, Snap Construction, for a free home inspection.
This is Ryan, owner of Snap Construction. There are a lot of great construction companies in town. My advice is to take your time and do your research. Make sure they are locally owned. and that they guarantee their craftsmanship for life. Also, you want to find a company that's been in business for at least 10 years. You want to work with a company that's going to be there long after the work is done. Snap Construction has handled thousands of claims, and we'll help you through the process.
Don't go with the out-of-town, fly-by-night contractor. Most storm damage goes missed by the untrained eye. Trust Snap Construction for your free storm damage evaluation. For your free storm damage evaluation, call Snap Construction at 612-333-SNAP or visit them online at snapconstruction.com. That's 612-333-SNAP or snapconstruction.com.
Would you let animals pick your insurance? Do you really need to experience mayhem to get the best rates? Or how about a celebrity quarterback or fake university saving you money? There's a lot of marketing stunts when it comes to insurance, but what you really need is someone looking out for you. Call Array Insurance, and they will work hard to find you the best insurance coverage and rates. So avoid gimmicks and call Cheryl at Array, 763-504-3067, or arrayinsurance.com. Array Insurance, working hard for you.
From chasing fall colors on a scenic road trip to epic hikes, fall festivals, apple orchards, or long hours on a patio, fall in Minnesota offers clear blue skies, an endless tapestry of color, and unmatched beauty, perfect for setting the stage for any colorful adventure. Plan your dream trip at exploreminnesota.com. Sponsored by Explore Minnesota, aired by the Minnesota Broadcasters Association and this station.
Turn to Auto Technical with your vehicle donation. We have families waiting for a car. You know, over 85% of unemployed are successful in finding and keeping a job if they have dependable transportation. A car plus a job equals a life changed. 612-919-5526. We have families waiting for a car. 919-5526 or autotech.org.
Next Chapter Booksellers is not just a bookstore, it's a hub for book clubs. Connect with like-minded readers in the Sci-Fi Fantasy Club, Manga Club, the brand new Romance Book Club, and more. A friendly bookseller from Next Chapter Booksellers will handle all the arrangements and lead a vibrant discussion. Plus, for the younger kids, there's First Chapter Storytime every Saturday. Share your own book club ideas and find out more at nextchapterbooksellers.com. That's Next Chapter Booksellers off Snelling and Grand in St. Paul.
With a look at your AM 950 weather, I'm Patrick Lilia. Partly cloudy tonight with a low of 59, then more sunshine on Tuesday with a high of 78. Scotch-A-Mama's Hot Barbecue offers the huge taste of selections like baby back ribs and pulled pork sandwiches out of a little place. Scotch-A-Mama's is located just a block west of I-35W off of West Diamond Lake Road in South Minneapolis. Visit their website at scotchamamas.com.
You're listening to Native Roots Radio. This is Spirit from Reservation Dogs. Get up and listen.
Welcome back to Native Roots Radio presents I'm Awake, and this is Robert Pilot.
Portion of the show is supported by Native American Community Clinic on Franklin Avenue in Minneapolis, honoring health and tradition.
Yes, they do. Hey, we're here with Minnetonka, and when I'm thinking about this, maybe Jori, you can jump in, but I both want you to respond to this. I feel like there's a lot of healing going on. I feel like the four medicines are coming together, and I don't want to sound hokey, but I don't know. I'm kind of emotional listening to this show and being a part of it. What do you think, Jori? It's pretty crazy.
Yeah, Adrienne and I have a standing call on Mondays, and we get into all of this every week, and it's been, you can't separate out the personal from the professional here, and it's the most meaningful thing that I do, that we work on, that we're doing this. So yeah, thank you for saying that. One of the best examples, I think, of the work that we've done together and Adrienne is, we were before the break about to start to talk about products and what we have coming up, which we will get to and is great. But I do want to go back for 1 second and share that we were about to launch our first collaboration with our first Native American artist with Adrienne. And she said, hold up. We've never publicly talked about the work that we're doing together. So we can't just like start selling a product that's too much at once. And Adrienne, you really like pushed pause on us and made us just take a minute. And we said, okay. We thought we were putting action behind words. A lot of people on this topic and others just talk. They have a lot to say, and maybe they don't do as much. So we thought we were doing both, but we of course listened and trusted that. And that was an article in the Star Tribune in fall of 21 that Adrienne was quoted in, along with one of our other advisors. And it was the most public apology that we had done, because even though we had put it up on our site over a year before, that's just on our website. That's not the same as doing some press about it. So we were shocked by the interest in that and by how much that got picked up. And it was really, of course, Adrienne was totally right to steer us in that direction, but it's a good peek behind how this relationship works and what she does as it's like, what is a reconciliation advisor? I mean, it's being really thoughtful and saying, okay, that's one way of looking at it, but I know we need to do this other thing. So, we did that, and it was Adrienne, it was me and you and David Miller and our director of marketing at the Katie. And I don't mean that in an arrogant way, but we didn't hire like a PR, crisis firm to write something. It was really personal, which gets back to what you were just saying, Robert, which is what made me think of it. It was a personal thing for us, and how we talked about it was very real. So
yeah,
it's a good foundation before we go on to all of the great things that we are working on with amazing artists.
Absolutely. I just got to say, too, Adrienne, I don't know if you know this, but I have a store called Native Roots Trading Post, and I have my Hinu and we run it. And we were at the fair, and we fight appropriation one T-shirt at a time. And there's a lot of appropriation at the fair, as we know. But hey, let's talk about the designers you're working with, and let's talk about what we can see in the website and see in the beginning year magazine, because that's always fun to look through. Tell us what's happening.
Well, Adrienne, do you want to talk about what you've done? You were our first artist that we worked with.
Sure. So what she was talking about, I at the time when this was all starting and kind of in the middle of COVID, I was beading hats. And so I did a 40 hat launch. I did 10 of 4 different colorways. That was the first thing that happened. Then from there, we started working with Red Lake Anishinaabe artist Lucy Shefty, who's also Minneapolis native. And she actually did the first factual Native American designed beadwork for Minnetonka, and she came out with her Ziguan Wabigun mock here last spring. And so that was major steps. Those are things that have already happened on top of working with different organizations. I think that part should be talked about as well, because there is community efforts actually with NACC, who was on here. I've done some jingle dress classes with them. Each one of the times that an artist works with does a design launch, they have the option of a percentage of their profits to go to a nonprofit organization, Native organization of their choice. So a lot of this work is really beyond just, pulling in artists and doing this stuff. There's so many different aspects to it that have been really meaningful, more than just like a public apology and all these different things. It's like, it really is like so well-rounded of an effort. And I'm not saying that just to, but I feel like it is super thoughtful, right? In every way possible that it can be, we really try to do it. So, but I'll defer to Jori to talk about future stuff because I don't want to blow something of what can and can't be talked about.
So
Right.
we've worked with Adrienne on 2 different hat launches, which sold out, and on a shoe design that was inspired by the hat launch. We've worked with Lucy, like Adrienne just mentioned. The next Lucy design is launching on Indigenous Peoples Day of this year, the Ayashimok. It's a new beaded design named after her niece. And we do not have, one thing Adrienne and I are super aligned on, we do not have some arbitrary quota of how many collaborations to launch each year and how many artists to work with. We've worked with Adrienne on multiple things, and we've worked with Lucy on multiple things, and we want to build relationships. And so we're going to keep working with them. We have a big launch with Lucy next year, and we have a couple other artists that we are launching things with within the next year, starting kind of this fall. So I think people have seen a good amount of Lucy and seen a good amount of Adrienne, and they will keep seeing them because they're like in our, we feel like they're part of it now and really value those relationships, but we're going to be working with more and more people too. So it's a combination of new designs and also redesign things that are appropriating. We do have a lot of products, and we can't do, it's a lot to tackle, and it's really, really hard to do all at once. And
Right.
so we're trying to build, and we're trying to gain momentum. So it's a combo of new things and replacing things that are appropriating.
Say, how has your audience responded to this? Obviously, it's a sellout of the hats and the other things that you've had. But what kind of feedback have you heard from your regular customers, or better yet, your people that all over the country? By the way, I was in New York and I saw your shoes when I went to the Hall of Fame last year, and it was like, oh my God, they're right here. Look at this kiosk. This is awesome. What kind of response have you been getting?
Generally speaking, it's been very positive from our accounts, from consumers, from people. And Adrienne, it's important you talk about the response you've heard, but I'm not going to lie. Of course, trolls are going to troll. And yes, we've had a couple comments from people that are not on board, you go woke, you're going to go broke or whatever. So that's fine. Everyone's entitled to their opinion, but that's been absolutely the minority compared to the positive response and people feeling good. And, Adrienne, we've talked a lot about, I'm not Native. Can I wear this stuff, or am I appropriating? And how can I support? So if there have been a lot of people like that who have said, oh, wow, I've started to learn about this too. And now I'm watching you guys and I'm feeling better about it. So Adrienne, right. I don't know if you want to jump in on that, because we've talked about that a lot.
Yeah, so I get asked that question a lot too. Like, what has been my response, or what have people in the Native community said to me? And I was nervous, because I think it's just it's scary to make these inroads and to be the person that's going to lead an effort like this. It's like, I think one thing that's been interesting, or like just comment wise, I haven't heard it personally, but it's like, I think there's the reconciliation and the Native experience is such a big thing, and there's so much hurt, there's so much anger, all these things that have occurred, right? And I think a lot of people can get things like confused, or they see like one effort here, like this with Minnetonka, and they're like, well, what am I going to see out of that? Well, how is that reconciliation for me or affecting me in some kind of context? But I think that it's in a bigger sense. And I wanted to mention that too, when Jori was talking about what we are doing in the plan. I think what makes this reconciliation also very special, and I think why the community has I guess felt it so well or received it so well, is that I was very like a stickler of keeping these artists local, at least in the beginning of this process, you know, because it's really easy to go out and be like, oh, these people are really big in Indian country and they're doing this, that, and the other thing. But for me and with this specific effort, it was important. It's like, okay, the economics of reconciliation and all these different pieces have to stay here, and we have to see that benefit. This company is a Minnesota company. It should be working with, you know, local artists to give back the most that you can feel and see in this area, you know, and being from, you know, where we're located. And I think that that's a bigger, you know, push to Minnetonka as well too, is it's very easy to go after big name artists, but it's even better of a reconciliation effort to raise up folks who haven't got that light before.
Well, I have to have you guys on again. This went way too fast. Wow. We have to do this again. Where can we get this information? Do we have a website? Do we go to Minnetonka's website to see what's going on? Because I have many more questions, and I just want to say one thing too. If you're buying something that's made by a native, we would not be selling it. You would not be selling it, and it's good for people to support the artists and the company that support the artists. So I just wanted to say that, Jori, before we let you guys go. But are we at Minnetonka.com?
MinnetonkaMoccasin.com. We have a suburb here, Minnetonka. So
right, that's right.
It's confusing. Yes, it's all there. It's all there on the site.
Peeny, you two for being on. Up next, Dr. Stately, a Native American Community Clinic. We'll be right back after this short break. Thanks so much.
Thank you.
Minnesotans age 65 plus might qualify for Health Partners Minnesota Senior Health Options. The plan includes personal support, coverage for medical, prescription drugs, and dental, plus over 30 extra benefits. Eligibility information is available at healthpartners.com/oneplan. Health Partners is a health plan that contracts with both Medicare and the Minnesota Medical Assistance Medicaid program to provide benefits of both programs to enrollees. Enrollment in Health Partners depends on contract renewal.
The place for autumn fun is the Park Tavern. Live music is taking over the Park Tavern's dog-friendly patio this fall. Head over on Tuesday, September 19th for Bryce Heggie. Wednesday, September 20th, it's Gospel Engraved. And on Thursday, September 21st, it's The Ice Holes. Music runs from 5:30 to 8 p.m., and reservations for groups of 8 or more are recommended. And the Park Tavern offers private and semi-private spaces for small and large groups with no room fees and no minimum spending requirements. On Louisiana Avenue, north of Highway 7 in St. Louis Park, autumn fun is waiting for you at the Park Tavern.
Back to school season is here. And while this is an exciting time for parents, kids, and educators, let's not forget how far we've come in our battle against COVID-19. We're in a better place, but COVID-19 is still here, and we need to continue to help protect our communities. With the flurry of new schedules and classrooms, let's not overlook the fundamentals of staying safe. Wash your hands regularly and watch for any symptoms like fever, chills, a cough, or shortness of breath. Should you or someone you know have COVID-19 symptoms, stay home and get tested. Find more tips on continuing to be safe at health.state.mn.us. Let's have this back-to-school season be a time of renewed commitment to our collective health and brighter future for our Native communities. Again, find more tips on continuing to be safe at health.state.mn.us.
This message is brought to you in partnership with the Minnesota Department of Health.
Hi, I'm Jane Fonda, and you're listening to Native Roots Radio.
And we're back to Native Roots Radio presents I'm Awakened. This is Robert Pilot.
This portion of the show is supported by Howling for Wolves, protecting wolves for generations.
Hey, we are here with Dr. Stately, and we're going to have a quick update. It's really good to see you, Dr. Stately. Understand you're super duper busy, so I really appreciate you stopping in for one segment here and checking in and seeing what's going on. I was in general counsel. I'm still a legislator. I did not get removed. I'm still here.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Cool. Congratulations.
Yeah, one in a row. But we have a little mini, more than a mini breakout in Wisconsin here of COVID. It's coming back.
Yeah, the cases are on the rise in Minnesota too. There's kind of been a report recently, I think. And I would say that it's really a good opportunity for us to remind everybody to go get your COVID booster. In fact, I was just reading an article earlier today. The bivalents are gone. No more bivalents.
Mm-hmm.
The new booster that's been or the new vaccine. It's not even a booster; it's a vaccine. The vaccine is designed to address some of the newer variants, and the one that we see out now, which I think is, I don't remember the name of it, the official name of it, but I think people call it the Eris virus, so or variant. So I think it's really important that people get that if they can, especially if you have vulnerabilities like you're elderly, you have an immunocompromised disorder of some type, you are young, children with limited immunity yet, probably would be really beneficial for them to have that. So infants 6 months and older, I think it's cleared for. And then, other people who have immunosuppressant disorders like cancer or are on immunosuppressant treatments like cancer and such like.
Hey, I want to remind everyone we're here with Antony, Dr. Stately. I never call you by your first name because you are a doctor, president and executive officer of Native American Community Clinic here in the Twin Cities in Minneapolis. I see you got my shirt on there. Where did you get that shirt?
Is that your shirt? I think this is too small for you, technically.
Yeah.
I'm kidding. I'm just teasing you. But this is actually one of the vaccine shirts that came out like 3 years ago or something like that. I'm just taking really good care of it.
Right.
The one that my cat hasn't ripped up. My cat's ripped up yet. Yeah. My cat made a hole in my AIM shirt last week, and then I was like, "You're lucky I love you, because you'd be dead to me if I didn't love you."
So I was at the Mankato powwow Sunday. Missed you there, but really good to see people and be reminded that we're all connected, and it was good. It was just really good to see people.
I know. I'm so disappointed I missed that powwow. I think this might be the first summer I haven't gone to it since I moved back from Seattle. It's like one of my favorite powwows. It's small. It's not too, I get to see all the people that I normally don't see anytime else during the year. It's, it's not a competition powwow. It's more of a traditional powwow. It's on the land of the Dakota, the memorial, the Land of Memorial Park, Land of Memories Park, which is a really significant piece of reconciliation for the Dakota War and the hanging of the 38. It's just a beautiful place to be, and it's always like lovely because it's the end of the summer. It's like the beginning of fall, and so the evenings are cooler, and it's just a lovely powwow, and I missed it this year. Sadly.
What was really crazy, Dr. Stately, was the river that you drive by on 169 is almost no water in it.
The
Minneapolis Falls was completely dried up. The falls was gone at the state park.
That's concerning.
Yeah, it's so sad.
It's so concerning with what's going on with global warming and things like that. And I also got to remember our audience that's listening to us, and especially our audience in Wisconsin, that right down the street, Blue Earth is where Ho-Chunk were for thousands of years, and we're also removed from there. And it's always cool to go down that area and see those signs, and because we call Minnesota the place where blue clay came from as Ho-Chunk.
Yeah, nice. That's a good reminder. Yeah. I saw that your guests right before you were from doing some good work, Minnetonka Moccasin and Adrienne Benjamin, their reconciliation advisor. They're awesome people. They have supported a lot of the work that NAC has done over the last couple of years. They've done a couple of moccasin making and jingle dress. I think Adrienne's taught a couple of our jingle dress making classes for our traditional healing program. And and they've supported a couple of other things that we do. So they're really wonderful people. They give a lot back.
Yeah, they do. And
we're making an active effort to repatriate or just at least repair historical harms, right? And that's all we really want from people, is make an effort.
When have you ever heard that from a company as big as Minnetonka? I mean, I've never heard of that.
Almost never. No, almost never. Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean,
possibly never. Yeah.
Yeah. The first of never.
Yeah. I mean, I think that, NAC has done some work around land acknowledgements, because we're in a relationship with the University of Minnesota for a research center, a research project that's really exciting. And someday I'll talk about that here. But part of that was to also develop a land acknowledgement for our research center, because there's 11 research centers across the United States, and the one here in Minnesota has the only Native American project in all 11 centers.
Wow.
Which we're leading. And but that land acknowledgement process was really challenging in the sense that, it really did teach us and stretch our capacity as partners to have intentional conversations about what has to happen beyond just acknowledging that harm happened. It's not important. It's not enough anymore, especially now, post George Floyd murder and the pandemic, to just say harm has happened. Yes, land was taken. These things are true. People have known this for decades, that this is true. Now it's time for us to actually talk about what we're going to do about it, and talk about making commitments, the commitments to repair those harms with the resources that these institutions have. So I'm glad that they're doing that work. Really awesome.
Absolutely. Dr. Stately, you are a busy man. We got less than a minute left. Give us what you want to tell the masses out there. We have over 200,000 listeners in the 2, 4, 5 state area. You got 30 seconds.
Okay. Get your vaccine if you haven't gotten it. Be a good relative. Take care of yourself and someone else if you can. And just show up and be the best relative you can. That's all Creator wants from us.
What a great way to end this show. Haley, you're up next to end it here.
Free Leonard Peltier. Ow.
Free Leonard Peltier now. We'll be back tomorrow. You've been listening to Native Roots Radio Presents I'm Awake.